Hi everyone. In this podcast, we will learn the basic requirements of bubble CPAP machine, the troubleshoot, and the maintenance. The basic requirements for giving CPAP to a newborn includes requirement of oxygen, a pressure generator, flow of gases, need to warm and humidify the gases which are going to the patient. Oxygen is graded and given to the baby, and the quantity of oxygen which we give to the newborn is graded as fractional inspired oxygen concentration, and it could vary from 21 to 100%, but most of the time we prefer to give oxygen less than 60% for giving CPAP to a newborn. Pressure which we can give for a baby on CPAP can vary from 4 to 7 centimeters. This is a continuous positive airway pressure, and this helps in maintaining the functional residual capacity. To generate the pressure, we need to give flow of gases. The air oxygen mixture has to flow into the circuit to generate pressures. Apart from pressure and oxygen, we also need to warm and humidify the gases which are going to be delivered to the baby's nose. And the temperature of the gas when it goes to the baby should be at a temperature of 37 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 100%. So to provide graded oxygen, we need a compressed air source, we need a compressed oxygen source, and a blender which is used to mix the compressed and air and oxygen to get the required functional inspired oxygen concentration. And for generating the pressure, we need the flow of gases and a CPAP generator. And for giving the temperature and to warm and humidify the gases, we need a warmidifier or a servo controlled humidifier. Now let's look at the CPAP generator. Here in this slide you can see the gas is flowing in the circuit, and this circuit is connected to the patient lungs through a patient interface. When this air oxygen mixture is going in the circuit and connected to the patient, the gas from the patient goes to the circuit, but to ensure the gas from the circuit to go to the patient, we need to obstruct the flow of gases in the circuit. So this obstruction to the flow of gas in the circuit will cause the gas to go to the patient and build pressure in the patient lungs. Now this obstruction is using an expiratory valve in a ventilator, and in a bubble CPAP machine, this obstruction is created by immersing the expiratory limb in a chamber with water. Now as the mixture of gas has to go through the water column and then come out, there is an obstruction created to the flow of gases. The strength of obstruction is equal to the depth of immersion of the expiratory limb inside water. So if the expiratory limb is immersed 4 centimeter down from the water level, so the pressure generated in the circuit would be 4 centimeters. Now if the depth of immersion is 5 centimeters from the water level, the pressure generated would be 5 centimeters, provided there is bubbling in the bubble chamber. Now to give pressure, we have used the bubble chamber to generate pressure. Whatever pressure is generated in the circuit is the pressure which will be delivered to the patient's lung. Bubbling in the bubble chamber will tell us that the pressure generated in the circuit is at least 4 centimeters. Only when the pressure in the circuit is more than the water column, the depth of immersion of the water column, then you start seeing bubbling. When there is no bubbles in the bubble chamber, either the pressure which you want is not obtained in the circuit, or the flow of gas in the circuit is inadequate to generate that pressure. Excess bubbling in the bubble chamber only means either there is wastage of gases or there is a turbulent flow which might inadvertently give high pressures in the circuit and also high pressures delivered to the patient. Now, to provide oxygen, as we discussed, we require a compressed air source, a compressed oxygen source and a blender. Now, blender would help us to titrate the mixing of air and oxygen and to give the oxygen in fractional inspired concentration of oxygen ranging from 21 to 100%. But for more practical purposes, we would like to keep the FiO2 between 21 to 60% when we are providing CPAP for a newborn. Now the gas coming out from the blender, how much of gas should flow into the circuit is decided by the flow meter. So you need low flows when you want to generate lower pressures, and you need high flows, or the flow needs to be increased when the pressure to be delivered in the circuit or to be delivered to the patient needs to be increased. So a flow meter would decide the quantity of gas which is going into the circuit, and the blender would help us in deciding the quality of gas which is going to the patient. Now the third component of a CPAP machine is a humidifier, and here you can see a servo controlled humidifier. Now this humidification works on warming the gases using a water bath. Now when the air oxygen mixture from the blender is going to the humidifier, then it is getting heated in the humidifier with a water bath. Now whenever a warming of gases occurs with a humidifier, then the relative humidity of the gas coming from the humidifier is going to be 100%. Now this servo humidifier is controlled in such a way that the gas coming from the humidifier is 37 degrees Celsius and with a relative humidity of 100%. To ensure that this relative humidity remains 100% and a temperature of 39 is maintained when the gas is going to the patient, we need to have a special mechanism. That is, you ensure that the gas going from the chamber is heated with a heater wire in the inspirator limb to 39 degrees, that is before going to the patient. From 39 degrees, before it reaches the patient, the gas drops by 2 degrees Celsius. Now this extra 2 degree of heating in the inspirator limb is a dry heating and not with a water bath. So whenever the gas gets heated from 37 to 39, there is a fall of relative humidity from 100% to maybe 80 or 90%. Now this gas from 39 till it goes to the patient is in the inspirator limb without a heater wire. So there is bound to be fall of temperature from 39. And it is expected that when the distal limb from the time of the 39 degrees till it goes to the nares is expected to have a fall of temperature of 2 degrees Celsius. So when the gas is actually reaching the nares of the patient, it is going to be at 37 degrees Celsius with a relative humidity of 100%. Now when the gas exits the patient in the expiratory limb, the gas temperature is going to fall down to the room temperature. Now whenever gas goes below 37 degrees, there is going to be condensation, and this condensation is going to reflect in the expiratory limb. So the excess water in the expiratory limb trickles down to the bubble chamber. Now the bubble chamber is made in such a way that the excess water collects in a side chamber and the water level does not increase. So overall, the gas coming from the humidifier is going to be at 37 degrees Celsius with 100% relative humidity, gets heated in the inspirator limb to 39 degrees with a relative fall of humidification, and gets to 100% relative humidity, temperature of 37 when it goes to the patient. And there is going to be some condensation in the expirator limb, which you can see as droplets of water in the expirator limb. But these droplets, when it falls into the bubble chamber, it's not going to lead to increased water level. Here you can see a video of a CPAP machine and a CPAP being delivered to the patient. You have the air and oxygen coming through the tubings, and these tubings are connected to the blender. The blender mixes the compressed air and compressed oxygen in a ratio required to deliver the required fractional inspired concentration of oxygen, and that gas, when it comes out, it is regulated with a flow meter to ensure adequate amount of gas is going into the circuit. The gas is going into the humidifier, getting warmed there, coming out at 37 with 100% relative humidity, getting warmed in the inspirator limb, going to the patient, and at temperature of 37 with a relative humidity of 100%, and from the patient the gas is coming down in the expirator limb. There is going to condensation in the expirator limb, and this is bubbling in the bubble chamber, and you can see that even if the water trickles, the extra water falls into the side chamber. So this forms the complete circuit which is required to give CPAP for a newborn baby. Now there are some troubleshoots with this machine. The troubleshoots could be an alarm from the blender, or a malfunctioning of the blender, leaks in the circuit, condensation in the inspirator limb, no condensation in the expirator limb, and inadvertent delivery of high pressures. Now let us deal one by one. Now blender works only when high pressure gas is coming into it. When the pressure of gas of either oxygen or air differs by 15% to 20%, the blender is going to give a squeaky alarm. Now this alarm means either the compressor is not working or the oxygen in the cylinders is empty. Now the second thing is, although the blender is expected to function accurately, over time the amount of the type of gas coming from the blender may not be exactly the FiO2 what you set on the blender. This can only be compared by using an FiO2 monitor, and an FiO2 monitor is required to see the functioning of a blender maybe once in 2 months, maybe once in 3 months. Now this other problem is there could be inadvertent high pressure being delivered to the patient or to the circuit. This can be circumvented by using a safety device. As you can see, this white knob like thing which is there before the gas goes to the humidifier, and this safety device has 3 openings. The top one is a pressure release valve, the second one is a pressure manometer area, and the third one is the area where you can attach an FiO2 monitor and see whether the blender is functioning well or is it delivering the amount of FiO2 which you set on the blender. The second troubleshoot is leaks in the circuit. The most common sites of leaks are either the interface or in the circuit. The common sites of leak in the circuit are at the safety device, that is at the area of FiO2 monitoring, or at the area of pressure release valve or pressure manometer. It can also be at the area where the temperature probes are connected to the inspirator limb. If there is a leak in the circuit, even if it's minor, then when it is minor, the flow of gases required to generate pressure is going to be increased. But if it's going to be a major leak, the pressures in the circuit are not going to be built up and there will not be any bubbling in the bubble chamber. The other big problem of bubble CPAP, or the troubleshoot as far as bubble CPAP is concerned, is the condensation. You should not be expecting any water condensation in the inspirator limb, and you should be expecting some condensation in the expirator limb. Now whenever there is condensation in the inspirator limb, that means the temperature of gas is below 37 degrees before it reaches the patient. So this condensation can be avoided by ensuring that the room temperature is not too cold, the heater wire in the inspirator limb is working, and also ensuring that the flow of gas is not inadvertently high in the inspiratory limb. Now, if there is no condensation in the expiratory limb, that means there is no heating of gases, or there is no heating of gases in the humidifier. If the humidifier is working well, then it should release the gases from its outlet at 37 degrees and 100% relative humidity. Since there is no heater wire in the expiratory limb, the gas is expected to fall to room temperature in the expiratory limb. When the gas temperature goes below 37 degrees in the expiratory limb, there is bound to be condensation in the expiratory limb, and this means the humidifier is working. But whenever there is no condensation in the expiratory limb, that means the humidifier or the chamber of the humidifier is not able to create a bubble bath or a water bath, and the gases are not warmed in the humidifier chamber. Regarding the bubble chamber, if the water is trickling down from the expiratory limb into the bubble chamber, the excess water is going to trickle into the side chamber. However, if there is excessive bubbling, there is going to be evaporation of water from the bubble chamber. When the water evaporates from the bubble chamber, the water level is going to come down. And if the water level is going to come down, the level of immersion of the expiratory limb in the water is going to decrease, and this would invariably decrease the pressure generated in the circuit and the pressure delivered to the patient. So over time, if the water evaporates in the bubble chamber, the pressure delivered to the patient is going to be decreased. So one needs to keep a constant watch on the water level in the bubble chamber. If there is excess bubbling in the bubble chamber, that means the flows are too high in the circuit, and this may lead to inadvertently high pressure being delivered to the patient. So the bubbling should be adequate to generate the pressures, and the adequate bubbling is that which is minimal but present both during the inspiration and expiratory phase of the baby's breathing. Coming to the maintenance of the CPAP machine, comparing reusable to disposable circuit, it is always preferable to use a disposable circuit, as this would decrease the chances of infections. There are 3 waters one should remember when you are using bubble CPAP machine. Use sterile distilled water for the humidifier, and use a mechanism by which the humidifier can be auto-filled. The water in the CPAP generator or the bubble chamber can be a distilled water or a tap water, but it should be preferably a clean tap water. Water in the circuit, there should not be any water in the inspiratory limb, and there should always be some condensation in the expiratory limb. Blender malfunctioning should always be cross-checked using an FiO2 monitor, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. Although most bubble CPAP machines may not have pressure measurement devices, it will be ideal to measure the pressures at the patient nares when you are delivering CPAP to a baby. This can be done by using a small pressure manometer connected to the interface of the patient. So to conclude, the basic requirements for applying CPAP to a newborn would include a pressure generator, graded oxygen or measured as fractional inspired oxygen concentration, and humidification, meaning warmth and temperature of gases which are going to be delivered to the patient. For generating the pressure, we need a bubble device. For giving graded oxygen, we would need a blender, we would need oxygen source, and we would need a compressed air source. And for providing humidification, we need a servo control humidifier with inline heating in the inspiratory limb. Thank you for a patient hearing.